Howdy, howdy. Yo. How y'all doing? Happy Mag, right? Feels good. Happy Mag. So, we're a couple minutes behind, which means I'm just going to get into hell. I'm going to drink some water. And be hilarious and endearing. I know, right? It was good. I know. That's all I've got for rolls. So, welcome. This is a panel that I've put together on high-performance communication in competitive gaming. And I want to give you a little bit of an agenda. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself because that's the only other thing that I know how to talk about, or what to talk about. We're going to talk about a communication model. This is a panel that I've given before at professional development organizations, professional development conferences. But this is also something that in the last year I've been able to adapt into the gaming sphere. I've been really lucky to speak at a couple of different conventions. This is my first time speaking at a MAGFest, and it feels good, man. Once we have an understanding of the model, we're going to walk through a couple of different examples with some games, Apex Legends, World of Warcraft, and Overwatch, none of which I actually play. So I'm going to be very limited in understanding and expressing what it is that's going on. Mercifully, the videos should be self-explanatory, and they do have subtitles. And then finally, as promised in the description, because I know everybody read it, also I'm real short. This microphone is like way up here. I need a booster seat. We're going to have an optional interactive exercise, completely optional, but there will be prizes. I've got some endpoints up here. I've never had an endpoint before, so I feel very powerful. It is completely optional, though. Do not feel that this is in any way compulsory. What I want to do here is I want to establish a little bit of credibility about me. I mean, I'm at MAGFest, so yeah, I'm a gamer, and I'm old. I've been gaming since 1992 in the NES, SNES era, and currently playing It Takes Two with my wife. And we haven't gotten very far yet, but we're actually, we tried the other game, what was that one? A Way Out. And then we're like, no, let's do the other one. Let's do It Takes Two. That's much more endearing. Most recently completed Halo Infinite, and Titanfall 2 is just better than Apex. I'm sorry, it just is. I don't make the rules. In terms of the communication, that is what I went to school for, and that is a lot of what I do in my professional experience is communications between systems and people. All that to say, 10 years of experience, I know what I'm talking about. Let's get rolling. If you also read the description, you know that what I'm going to show you today is how any form of communication works, whether it is in a game, you're trying to get your drive-thru order right, you're trying to negotiate with your boss for that raise that you desperately deserve. But we're going to talk about it in the scope of gaming. It's going to be applicable to a lot of other disciplines, something that is relatable for teachers, students, salespeople, servers, if you're a parent, if you're a child, anything in between. And this is also going to be applicable to person-to-person communication, person-to-machine communication, machine-to-machine communication. That's kind of the beauty of this model, is it is so abstract that it is applicable in a lot of different ways. It is based off of the Shannon-Weaver communication model. If you've ever taken a Communication 100 or 101 course, you probably know this. If you don't take Communication 100 or 101 courses. Not recommended. I'm going to give it to you all today anyway. You're going to walk out of here total experts. So let's talk about the model. There are three pieces of the model, or three different segments of the model: actors, objects, and actions. The actors are the sender and the receiver. In this case, I'm the sender, you're the receiver. Very simple. In the more abstract term, the projector, which I don't even know where it is. I guess it's one of those like fancy ones that's like behind. That's kind of cool. That is sending a visual signal to the projection screen. The sender performs the transmission of the message, and the receiver may or may not be the intended recipient. It could be an eavesdropper. It could be someone who was just passing by. Part of high-performance communication is that acknowledgement of I am the sender and you are the receiver. Two of the objects that we're going to talk about, there is a third one that we'll hit in a moment. Maybe you can answer it for me if I can convince you to engage. But let's start with these two objects, the channel and the message. The message is the content itself. It is the words that I'm speaking to you right now. It's that text message that you just got 4 minutes ago about a Domino's coupon that expired 4 months ago. It is that email that you got, that's the message. The channel is the route that it took to get to you. When I'm speaking to you, the words are the message and the channel is an auditory one. A text message is a channel, an email is a channel. Something that this model immediately fails to identify is the utility of a message. Let's go back to that example. You got a text message from Domino's about an expired coupon. You don't care. But if that text message was from a friend and it was an update that you were looking for on something that you were working on or just something that says they're okay, that has much higher utility. Not all messages are built the same. Not all channels are built the same either. Different types of channels are better suited for different messages. I can tell you what time it is. I'm not going to tell you what time it is. Or I could display a clock. And one of those is probably a better channel by which to express that information. Think about why people say the book is better than the movie. The book can have several pages describing any particular scene, whereas that same scene in a movie might only have a couple of frames to show the intricacies of this tree branch. A book can take its time, a movie has to be a little bit more expedited. I did promise you one more object, but we're going to hit that in a hot second after we talk about the actions within this model. The sender is responsible for encoding a message. The receiver is responsible for decoding the message. Right now, I'm speaking to you in English, and I'd like to think that, yeah, I'm using the right words, and I'm not sounding total jargony, and it's easy to understand. If I started speaking in Spanish, it's not a guarantee that everybody here knows Spanish, and me encoding the same message with the same utility might not be decoded. In communication, this is always going to be an asymmetric relationship. It is way more about what the receiver hears than what the sender says. And that's why it's so critically important for the sender to encode the message in a way that is easily decoded. The best thing you can do is take the burden off of the receiver. Don't make them guess. I'm just going through my notes here. I'm sorry. It's been a day, man. You know what I mean? And this is my favorite example of encoding, effective encoding. Let's eat, Grandma. And let's eat, Grandma. I am a funny person. I promised you endpoints. I also said there was one more object in this model. What is that object? Does anyone have a guess? Hit me. No, that is actually something that is in the more conventional Shannon Weaver model. I've adapted this one to, I've always thought that the feedback loop in itself was another message encoded and decoded. So I've taken that out of my modified model. Hit me. That's the channel. Hit me. Priority is about message utility. It's not inherent to the model, it's an attribute of the message. Come get your points, my man. Give him a hand. Thank you so much. Noise. Do me a favor. Just start talking amongst yourselves for like 10 seconds. That's it. So if I'm trying to tell you a message, but it's not getting through, it's going to make it really hard for me to, okay, thank you. That's a great example. Noise is any external stimuli that primarily acts on the channel, compromising its ability to express the message. You talking out loud is going to completely just overpower me trying to tell you anything. Noise itself is not always bad. It's sometimes desirable. Think of like a white noise machine when you're trying to sleep. But in terms of high performance communication, it must be controlled and mitigated. It is an inevitability. It will happen. But you must take steps to counter it, control it, mitigate it. So now that you're all experts, I love it. Congratulations, you just passed Communications 100. I saved you $3,500. Let's take a look at a couple of examples and we can identify the parts of the model that we can see are working and the parts that are not. We're gonna start with Apex Legends. It's gonna be 2 clips, one from Team Renegades and one from Team Liquid in a recent tournament. And we're gonna compare.
Watching. I got my blue.
Nice. Might be shot.
Fighting Lava City over here.
Yes. Might have shot. Straight through the door. You look. You look. Just don't stand completely still.
Yeah, I know.
I've had a flatline every game, but this team I have a fucking havoc as my secondary. I still have a bolt. Do one of you need a purple shotty bolt?
Yeah. Sauce needs it.
He's getting an angle, that Gibby. I can give it to you.
Okay. I'm playing behind this rock, and I'm gonna start looking at this Gibby. He's like right here, I think.
Him playing that's actually kind of whack, bro.
Yeah, it is whack.
Look there again.
Yeah, I'm looking.
I don't know what's going on. I just see Gibby in the bubble in the open.
If you play Apex Legends, you might know what's going on. I don't, so I have no idea what's going on. I'm looking at this from a purely academic perspective. So now let's take a look at a different team. Different scenario, too.
Fox Cannon again.
How much light ammo do you have, Max?
Wants to call it out. 300.
Give me 60.
If you see a cost to call it out, I
hear your pad. I hear your pad. I'm trying to look to break it.
Right here.
I don't see it. We have to watch the south. The south is the most priority. I think we default stairs right now. Tom, do not overextend.
Tom, look close on north and west. Brandon, stay
South
focused.
is looking to push us. South is looking.
Focus on south. I'm holding stairs, okay? You let us know if you need us.
Yep.
Tom, keep looking for kills on north, northwest.
Okay.
Because you're going to have rotations on the north end. Or on the west end, actually. Tunnel is kills.
There's an Octane looking south for us. There's an Octane looking south. I'm gonna. Okay, this is weird.
Looking west.
Yo, they Valk, shoot him!
30 on Valk! They have caustic?
They might try and drop.
I think so. I have ult 14. Play default stairs.
Playing wide, because if they have caustic, they do what we just did.
Okay.
Just be ready to bubble on me, Brandon.
Yeah. Heard.
They have caustic. Give me 70.
Crack Caustic.
Bubble on me.
Crack Gibby.
Bubbling on me. Get ready for the fight.
I'm gonna gas their outside if they land on the roof.
Yes.
I needed
Play on me. Play on the height.
They're up on the roof.
I need to drop.
They bub.
Play me.
I'm gas.
I'm getting them out. I use gas nade on them. They bub.
You have to look for damage on them.
I'm gassing them. I'm healing.
Play my shield. Play my knockdown. Another Gibby ult. Be careful.
No.
Above us.
Drop, Tom. Just play your life and drop.
Again, I don't play Apex Legends. Some stuff happened. I don't know what. A lot of stuff happened. But let's focus on the communication. And let's go back to, you're all experts, you remember the model: actors, objects, actions. Sender, receiver, message, channel, noise. So what went well and what didn't? First thing that came to my mind when I see these videos and I compare them is the difference in the specific encoding. In the first video, a member of Team Renegade said over here or over there. That was actually something that they had mentioned a number of times. If I say to you, go over there, is that useful? Not particularly. Compare that to Liquid, who is using cardinal directions on the building. South, southwest, north, northwest. That is that reduction of the burden on the receiver to decode the message. It made it very simple to follow. They did do one other thing right, though. I'm going to hit that last. Rather, Renegades did something right, and I'm going to hit that last. Chatter, noise. Tell me y'all play online games. Tell me that much, all right? Yeah. I didn't even ask. I told you to tell me that. I play online games. Yes. Something that happens a lot is and less so in these competitive settings, is the chatter. There might be side talk, or there might be something that reduces the utility of a message because they're just joking around or something. Renegades, in that particular scenario, it wasn't high octane, so there were fewer messages. They had relatively high utility, but it was otherwise the game, and that's it. In the Liquid example, because that was a much more high-octane scenario, there was a lot more speaking. Not every message had the highest utility, especially, and please, if there is one thing I need you to take away from this, it's that repetition is the worst. Repetition is the joke. And bubble on me, bubble on me, bubble on me, bubble on me. Sure, that indicates urgency. But it's not the best use of that channel. It's filling it with extraneous messages, repetitive messages that don't add any additional value. Say it once, say what you mean, and be done. Man, I'm passionate about this one. Almost. Going back to that first example of Renegade saying over here, sure, over here doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. But did you notice something else that they did? The ping. That's what we call multi-channel messaging. I can express the same message over a couple of different channels. And yeah, that's extra work by me, the encoder, to make sure that I'm sending the same message twice. It's not the same thing as repetition. Because, what did we say? Different channels have different values. To say over here with a ping is way easier to decode than saying over there, or even saying north-northwest. It's a very specific location. You just got to make sure you press the button on the right actual location and not misclick. Is it a click or a button press? See, I don't play Apex Legends. And I'm a console scrub. I only do controller, man. So knowing that, does that mean that multi-channel messaging is the optimal way? Like all good things, it depends. It's entirely up to the relationship between the sender and the receiver. It's up to the circumstances involved. In that particular scenario, I would say yes, that was the optimal way of communicating. So now we're done with Apex Legends. Let's talk about World of Warcraft. Has anybody ever done a pickup group in World of Warcraft? Has anybody ever done a pickup group that went well? Right? Some of the challenges of a pickup group is the communication, right? You don't have established relationships. This is a video of a pickup group in a raid or dungeon or something. Again, I don't play World of Warcraft. But what I'm told is it's particularly impressive.
All right. Stay focused, guys. What I need your help is if I call your name to break, get ready to break it. Make sure you guys are also doing your second pot during the Inferno. Kill the Doomfire, move barricade to the left. Alright, tank switch, get ready to kill the Deathcaller. Allure of Flame in 5. 3, 2, 1, let's move.
Beautiful stamp.
Spread off a trampoline. If it's a hunter or mage, let them do it themselves. Doomfire coming out on 5 on the right side. Here comes trampoline. Barricade. It's right in the middle, guys. Get back onto purple. Stack up back onto purple. Kill a Doomfire Spirit on the right. Make sure melee you're not getting hit in the fire. Allure in 5. Get back onto purple. Let's grab an orb before we move. Allure in 3, 2, 1. Let's move.
That sure were things that happened. I don't know what they were, but they happened. So you tell me, did that seem like it was going well? Especially for a pickup group? Sorry? Oh, definitely. This was a pickup group. They were all maybe not brand spanking new to each other, but that changes the relationship. So let's talk a little bit about it. And for this one, I'm actually really happy. There was a guy that I met at a bar one time. His name is Dan to Dan. And at one point, he was like the 8th ranked paladin in the world. And he took the time to walk me through a little bit what was going on, of which almost half I remember. But I was able to get some really good notes out of him. Let's talk about the noise reduction and the channel. We already know that reduction of chatter to make sure that the channel stays open is important. But something specifically that this raid leader did is they gave the condition of giving another person authority to speak. If you have nothing important to say, there's nothing you need to say. But if you do have something important, these are the times in which you can call out. Make that call out. Yeah, it's going to be a little difficult getting everybody to agree and actually abide by that, but setting that up as a baseline expectation went a long way. I'd also like to make the important caveat that I should have started at the very beginning. No improvement to communication is going to take you from a 2 to a 10 in terms of competitive gaming. But it will make the difference between 2 10s or 2 5s. People of equal skill level, if you have better communication, you're gonna get the edge. Another thing that I really actually appreciate for me was the selective, I'm just calling this selective informality. A lot of these terms I'm making up because, let's be real, I can. I'm also using it to describe what's happening. Selective informality. There were a handful of times that shorthand was used, but by and large, the long form version of the names or the not acronym or initialisms of the names were used. And there were also parts of that was very identifying in the encoding. And going back to my one of the very first things you saw in the description, why is your healer ignoring you? Because they don't know you. When you say heal me, who are you? I have no idea who you are, especially in a pickup group. But saying heal Dan to Dan, that's a specific instruction. You've taken the burden of decoding away from me, and now I know what I need to do. Again, the asymmetric responsibility. And the last one also on encoding was this clear and confident instruction. There wasn't any waffling. There wasn't any, hey, can you go do this? It was an order. And you as a player, not the raid leader, you're expected to perform your task and be good at it. Healers. But it also helps that the leader is making these clear, confident instructions. It becomes a very regimented operation. The expectation to perform to it and the group abiding by it still withstanding. But this is the kind of thing that really helps it. High utility messages with very clear encoding, and the instructions are confident. This was one of my favorite things to watch. It just made me so happy to dissect this as a pseudo-academic. No wasted words, no arguments, no doubts. We're done with World of Warcraft. Let's talk about Overwatch. How many people play Overwatch? Anytime. So, you know how chaotic the comms can get. There's that repetition that we're not going to do anymore. Because it's so chaotic, I actually had a hard time finding a good example of good communication that was easy to dissect. So I'm just going to let the players themselves speak to it.
혼자만 그 말을 하게 되면은 그 혼자 말하는 사람이 좀 부담감을 많이 느껴서 제대로 된 플레이도 할 수 없고 그렇게 힘든데 다 같이 말아서 모이면은 좀 더 생각도 잘 모이고 더 잘 되는 것 같아요.
일단 한 명이 메인 오더를 맡아서 오더를 하는 경우에는 이제 방향성이 확실해지고 팀원이 모두 하나로 단합할 수는 있지만 만약에 그 메인 오더가 잘못된 오더를 내렸을 때 뭐 팀이 전체적으로 한 번에 무너질 수 있는 거.
I think with a central shot caller, you have less of that overcrowding. So you might have a clearer comms, quieter, calmer comms, but then you kind of limit yourself in that you can't always see everything, right?
They only have one perspective. So you're limiting your field of view to one person only, and they're not going to see everything. It's not even like a question of might not see everything, they're not going to see anything, or everything rather.
You generally have your main tanks, your main supports calling the strategy of the game and thinking about the overall tendency, because main support is one of the easy ones so that you can have a better macro view of everything, and main tank is the person who essentially is doing things first. He's the one making the decisions, he's the one moving first, and everyone has to follow him. So the communication and how much you communicate within each role is dependent on team and player, but for the most time it sticks to that kind of template.
And now that you're all experts, you know exactly where to point those things out on the model. We're talking about shot callers in Overwatch. A centralized shot caller versus distributed. When we start talking about those quieter comms, what are we talking about? Tell me what part is affected. Just shout it out. Somebody say it. Voice. Well, and you're keeping the channel clear, yeah. When we talk about distributed having a higher perspective. This wasn't on the model, but I mentioned it a handful of times. What kind of message are we, or what attribute of the message are we enhancing? Utility. You're experts. I love it. This is the best crowd ever, I think. Thanks. Also, happy Mag. This is a good time. Merry Magmas. Yeah. I promised you a couple of things in this panel. I promised you how to get your drive-thru order right. And no, I'm not going to teach you a secret, but you know why it went wrong. Maybe you shouldn't have been looking this way when the speaker is over here when you're ordering a medium fry. I also promised you takeaways. And obviously the repetition one is one that is really important to me. I want you to take that with you. But if I had to condense all of this down to 3 or 4 things, this is it. Take a photo, write it down, do what you need to do. This is it. This is what's going to make you better. Clearer communication is better than more communication. Specific communication is better than redundant communication. No more bubble on me, bubble on me, bubble on me, bubble on me. None of that. The last one is a little bit trickier. We talked a lot about this being an asymmetric relationship. that doesn't mean that there's no burden on the decoder, on the receiver to decode. It is important for you as the person listening. Do you hear what the other person is trying to tell you, or just what they're saying? I know, real deep, real metaphorical. Thanks, Phoenix Wright. There is one other, so I gave this panel at Too Many Games, and after that I had the chance to talk to Dan, and he actually gave me one more that I think is the most important one. Have fun. It's a game. Have fun playing your games. People are going to want to listen to you if you're likable, and you're likable if you're having fun. So just a huge shout out to Dan for breaking down that WoW video and really helping with this. He's not here today, so I could also talk trash about him if I wanted to, but I won't because he's great. Now we get interesting. Enter the Act 2. So we talked about the model. You're all experts in it. You've seen it in action. You've seen when it works in games and when it doesn't work, or what parts could be improved, what makes it optimal. But there's one part of the model that is not captured. What is it? Come get it. And you were right. You just don't get the mag points for not There are more prizes. Everything I've given away has been some ones. I got a tenner right here. I mean, that's the big money, so you know you don't want to leave yet. If the model tells you what and how, the part that's missing is why. Why do we communicate? Again, in games. Sure, this is applicable to everything, but let's talk about games. Meta answer. Why did you feel compelled to give a response at all? There was something in it for you. There was a motivation. These motivations can be kind of stratified into 3 different tiers: collaboration, compromise, and competition. That's why we do it. That's why we communicate with our boss, with the person taking the drive-thru order, with any other gamer when we're playing a game. Permit me. My mouth is very dry. Overcooked and Mario Party are 2 of my favorite examples. Tell me y'all played Overcooked. If you haven't, that is a good time. My wife and I did, we didn't do the 4-star run, but we did a complete 3-star run of every level, including the Kevin levels. Big shout out, she's right there. She's my beautiful wife. Thank you. But the reason we communicated in Overcooked was to collaborate. We had the same objective, a shared objective, and we needed to work together to get to it. Compromise is the Mario Party Alliance. And that's a real fun one because that's where it could get a little spicy. I win and lose, you win and lose. We just need to make sure the other guy really loses. And competition, I don't see this as often anymore, but it still does happen in lobbies where you have open mic lobbies and you want to get in your opponent's head, so you give a little bit of a chirp, you give a little bit of a trash talk. It happens. There are fewer opportunities for it, but it does happen. If you watch the competitive gaming circuit and you watch the benches start jeering at each other, that's a choice. I promised you a lot of things today. One of the things I promised you is an interactive exercise. If you want, like I said, it's totally optional. I said making no gestures at all. And I'm going to ask for this exercise, if you do want to do it, pair up. Could be a total stranger, could be the person sitting next to you, could be your friend of 20 years, but pair up. and each one of you is going to grab one of these. So you just come on up and get them. Whatever paper you grab, your partner grabs the other one. So there's two. There's one labeled R, one labeled J. One partner grabs R, the other grabs J. And you must not look at each other's. You must keep it secret. These are confidential instructions. Do you need a partner? I mean, they're broken down. One is Roland, one is Jones. Just for labeling's sake. Cool. So, everybody who has a sheet has a partner. If you are a Dr. Roland, you have a Dr. Jones. Is that accurate? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Tell me you're good. Tell me you're happy. Tell me you're happy to be at MAGFest. Tell me this is a good panel. Tell me you're having fun. Yes. I plan to. So, we're going to do a little bit of an exercise. I would say you could start reading it now, but again, you must not show your partner your instructions. These are private, confidential. Do you want it? Okay. So, one of you is Dr. Roland, one of you is Dr. Jones. Take a hot second to read it while I talk out loud at you, which has really just been the last 37 minutes of your life. Me talking at you. This is the scenario for anyone who can't participate or doesn't want to. We're gonna walk through it as spectators. There are two doctors, a Dr. Jones and a Dr. Roland. Were you saying something? Sorry? Okay. A Dr. Jones and a Dr. Roland. You each have your prompt, and I am Mr. Cardoza. There is a fruit called the ugly orange. If you've done this exercise before, please do not say anything. Your objective as Dr. Roland or Dr. Jones is to secure as many oranges as possible for you. Think back to the model, think of what makes a high utility message, what is the best way to negotiate. We're not going to cover negotiation tactics, but you're experts in communications anyway. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to read, understand your roles, negotiate. And after 5 minutes are up, one of you is going to come up, give me a proposal, and we figure out if that was a good thing or not. I promised you a lot of things. If you follow my Twitter, which you don't know me. One thing I did promise, who knows Game Chops? I promised you a sneak preview of an album coming out tonight at midnight. Chocobo and Chill. So this is a world exclusive. First listen to the prelude while you do it. You have 5 minutes. I'd like to point out, every orange that you get as Dr. Roland is an orange that Dr. Jones does not get, and vice versa. Every orange that Dr. Jones gets is an orange that Dr. Roland does not get. Remember. 10 seconds. Okay. If I may. Yes. Deliberations are over. This is actually my first time doing it with this big of a group, so I don't know the best way to do it, the most fair way. Here's what I would like, though. One of the two in your pair will come up and speak into that microphone and tell me what your proposal is. Any order. Anybody who wants to, go to town. And we may not get through all proposals. In fact, I'm certain we won't. So if you think you've got a good one.
Should I use the mic?
Yeah, by all means. I want you to tell me who you are, your real name if you want. If you don't want to be Dr. Roland or Dr. Jones.
I'm Tyler, and my mic isn't on.
It's on.
Is it on? Oh,
yeah.
That's weird.
It's just a little muffled, a little quiet.
Because of the mask. Hi, everybody. I'm Tyler playing Dr. Roland, and we worked out that we need separate parts of the oranges, so I will bid $1. My rival, Dr. J, will bid 0, and we will process the oranges into rinds and juice and use them separately. Did we win?
Dr. Rollins of the room, I'd like to point you to paragraph 5, line 2. What part of the orange do you need?
The rind.
Dr. Jones is of the room, paragraph 4, line 2. What part of the orange do you need? Did anybody not get that?
Did we win? Did we do it? Did I get the money?
Your name's Tyler?
Thank you.
Sorry?
I love you. I said I love you. I'm just excited.
Tyler! I didn't want you to get it right on the first try.
Sorry.
But you did! Congratulations.
Thank you.
I do have more mag points if anybody wants participation trophies. And I'm sorry, there really isn't a great way for me to do this like in a super fair and equitable manner.
What if I make a really cool paper airplane?
You get a mag point. But more importantly, you're hard at work on that airplane. We did have some pairs that did not come to that solution, right? We had some pairs that came to the solution of, well, you're going to get 1,000 oranges and then I'm going to get 1,000 oranges. Did we have anybody that did that?
Similar. We were more comparing scale of outcome, whereas puppies and dogs is a much smaller scale than oceanic wildlife.
Right. Did everybody hear that? Could you do me a favor and come up one more and say this one more time? And you can introduce yourself. Tell us how you got to this solution.
Hi, I'm Dr. Roland. I've come to AA tonight because I'm at MAG. No, so we were still kind of discussing about comparing whether dogs and puppies is really a something
more noble.
Yeah, whether it's on the same scale of oceanic wildlife, whether saving dogs and puppies, is that really worth more than the amount of wildlife that would be saved, or is there a way to transfer that to dividing the 3,000 oranges equally to scale?
And this is an exercise that is supposed to make you feel, that's part of the reason why there's a time limit. It's designed to show you that you have competing objectives, competing actors, but one resource. And instead of the focus being on, well, I should get it because the ocean is more important than dogs, what aren't you telling each other? That there's a perfect solution, that there is a correct solution. And I close with this. It's a quote by Buckminster Fuller. And he says, "When I am working on a problem, I never think about beauty. But when I have finished, if the solution is not beautiful, I know it is wrong." That's something I believe in. That we don't always have to be competitors. That we don't have to compromise more than we should. That we can all get what we want if we know how to ask for it. My name is Dano. Sweet plating. I just want to say a quick thank you to my lady for getting me a refill on my water, for encouraging me to do this, for you, for coming out and coming out here, and to one of my friends, Lisa. She did the subtitles on the videos that were very hard to decipher. And also to game shops. I mean, they let me use this as a platform for an exclusive share, world exclusive, of Chocobo and Chill. Go ahead and scan that. That's a link to the pre-save for, I think, Spotify, Amazon, and iTunes. It comes out tonight at midnight. And I'm super grateful for you, for MAGFest, for letting me talk at you for an hour about how to talk good.
I'm grateful.
Thank you again. If there are questions, feel free. If there are not, go forth and happy mag. Come on up.